Now, in the words of Bill Gates, if I was down to my last dollar, I'd spend it on public relations. Well, who better placed to talk about promoting small and medium-sized enterprises than Ellen Gunning, who's an author. She's also, obviously, in her day job, director of the Irish Academy of Public Relations. She joins us now with her new book, which is called 10 Red Hot Tips to Promote Your Business. And this is to help give businesses the helping hand they need. Good morning, Ellen.
Very welcome. Good morning, Mark.
I would have to say, if somebody was to approach you in a commercial capacity to do this, it would probably cost them an awful lot of money. So this is good value for money for a start off.
It's actually targeted to people who can't afford, genuinely small to medium-sized enterprises who can't afford to go out and retain the services of a PR consultant, but who need to communicate, because public relations is just about communicating. It's about telling people who you are, what you do, what you're about, what inspires you. It's about letting people know you. So really this book tells you how the professionals would do that if you had brought them in to do it for you. That's the object of the exercise.
Now, people have a very cynical view of PR, because we associate PR now with spin, and you know, everybody's trying to sell something, and you know, if you sell
everybody
it really
spins.
Well, everybody spins, but it's a short step from PR to spin to lies, or being creative with the truth.
Okay, now it's interesting. Lies, I think if you tell lies, it doesn't matter whether it's you personally or it's you corporately. If you lie, you'll get found out. If you get found out, nobody believes you, you get a bad reputation. Well, it takes a lifetime to build a reputation and 10 seconds to ruin it. Yeah. So lying is just pure dumb for either businesses or individuals. Spinning, I think, is different, because spinning is putting a focus on something. Spinning just says, don't look over there, look over there. Now, I'm not talking about being sort of really manipulative with the truth, but I'm talking about saying, if you have a company and it's downsizing, is it downsizing or is it making people redundant? Is it savagely chopping 25 jobs, or is it preserving the jobs of the other 25 who are there? Is it because they're competing with the Chinese, or is it because they're hungry gits and they want to make more money for the company? That's at its best, that spin. It's don't look there, look over here, and I'll give you my side of the story, which everybody's entitled to do.
Or my version of it.
Or my version of it, because we all tell a version of the story.
There's a few ground rules, right? And the first thing you say is PR is not a substitute for advertising. So try to know who you're trying to influence and then target your audience. Now, why do so many people get that wrong?
I think because they think PR is cheaper alternative than advertising. They think, well, if I need to advertise, you phone somebody up and they say, this is the market that we reach, this is how much it will cost you for an ad that lasts this many seconds, this is how often it goes out. So it's instantly, this is your cost. Public relations, they think, well, if I can do it, you said it yourself, how much would this cost you to be sitting here on this couch talking to you if you were paying for it by advertising? But if you were paying by advertising, you'd be constantly promoting and saying, this is where the product is available, this is where you buy it. If it's public relations, it does a different job, but people think it's cheaper advertising. It's not. Advertising has a great role. It sells.
Okay.
Public relations tells. That's the difference.
And in a lot of cases, people like you are brought in after something's gone wrong. That's literally, you know, closing the stable door after the horse is bolted, or damage limitation. That's not what you PR and press or public relations should be about, though, is it?
PR and public relations is about communications. If you have good communications, that's PR. You have PR. It's how structured you have it. You may not have a PR department, but you have PR. I think what happens in crisis situations, and we do a fair bit of crisis PR, what happens in crisis situations is that people come to you and say, actually, even if I've done nothing wrong, I'm terrified that the perception will be that I've done something wrong because I'm not comfortable answering questions. I'm not comfortable dealing with the media. Now, there are also companies in crisis who just got themselves into it, and really it is bolting the door after the horse has left the stable, or whatever that expression is. There's very little you can do. But for really, we've dealt with a number of crises in charities recently, and the charities have been very well behaved, but the fear is that people will say, what about this, what about that, and it's tiny things. And it's just being able to get your message across. That's effectively what
that actually is a very interesting point. I mean, when something like that happens to one charity, and I mean, there's hundreds, thousands operating in the charitable sector, all the others get tarnished and all the others suffer. How do you combat something like that? You
can't, because it's the same in IT. If you're an IT company, everybody says, oh, for God's sake, it's a computer problem. Every computer company has it. You can't combat what's happening in the industry. All you can do is say, we're not part of whatever the problem is, we're not a part of it. But you really need an industry body to fight the industry perception.
Well, mind you, you need to make sure that all your ducks are in a row in the first place. If you're going to say we're not part of that, you can say, by the way, here are our books and they've been open for years. So, we are. It wasn't us, or it isn't us.
Yeah. And actually part of good PR is looking inside first. Before you go public and jump up and down and say, hey, look at me, I'm brilliant.
Yeah.
You actually look at everything you do and how you do it and see, well, is there anything that we should be fixing?
Well, if you're doing it properly and you're telling the truth, nobody has to come afterwards and say, tell us the truth. Okay.
Exactly.
Listen, you made an interesting point there about know who you're trying to influence and target your audience. How many of the people who come to you actually have identified their audience properly or their target market properly, and how many of them have got it wrong? How many of them are going after the cool segment of the market and forgetting that in actual fact their bread and butter really is somewhere else?
I think the biggest mistake most people make is that they try to target me. I try to target me, you try to target you. So the programs that you watch on television, the newspapers that you read, the social media that you're in, you think that's where everybody lives. And what you actually need to do is sit back and look at the products that you're selling or the charity that your charitable work you're doing and say, who am I actually targeting? What age group are they? Where do they live? What do they do? Give you an example. We met a company probably about 5 years ago now. They were in West Cork, tiny little business. They made beautiful jewellery, expensive, handcrafted pieces. And the woman said to me they were trying to do public relations and they wanted more people to come into the shop and buy, but enough people didn't know about them. And I said, well, can you tell me who your customers are? And she said, well, it's hard to sort of pin them. And I said, who walks through the door? And she said, oh, they're mostly professional couples. They both work, they have 2 children, they drive a 4-wheel, they live in South County Dublin, they're cash rich, time poor, and they have a house in West Cork, and they come in to me to buy a treat, and they usually come in as a family. And I said, well, you've actually identified your customer. Now I can find out where people in that area, what they actually read, what they do, what age they are, how you can target them through their children. And it was literally, once she had a photo fit picture of who she was targeting, you could target them, and that's what people get wrong.
So, again, in any walk of life, do your homework, do your preparation, do your research. And now, trends. Following trends or leading trends. If you're an SME, the chances are you're trying to keep your head above water, right? So the chances are you don't have, unless you're visionary, you're not setting any trends. So how do you do, what's the approach there? You're
not setting trends, but you're trying to be one of the very early adopters. So you're watching what the big guys are doing and you're saying, if that's where they're moving, how can I move my business to slide in behind them? And that becomes the story. That becomes what you're telling people about.
Ride the wave.
We're not the biggest, but we're smart. We saw what the big guys were doing, and we found our little chink and came in with it.
Do you know what? You're a rock of common sense.
That's what public relations and communications
but it's a business that's not famous for it, though. It's a business that's famous for kind of BS, if you know what I mean. You don't think pure common sense. Well, you are. 10 red-hot tips. 10 red-hot
tips to promote your business.
Ellen Gunning, available in all